All right, alternative exercises to the ab wheel without using the ab wheel itself. In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 exercises and 1 bonus exercise that you can try if you want to challenge your core the same way the ab wheel does, but without using the ab wheel. So if you want to learn what they are and how to do them, stick around and watch this video. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. All right, so exercises that you can do that challenge the core the same way without the ab wheel. Now, for whatever reason, maybe you're not digging the ab wheel because it's just causing some discomfort, or maybe it's a little bit too hard to balance on and execute the movement properly. Maybe you don't have an ab wheel, or maybe you just want to spice up your training a bit and give something new a try. Either way, try these exercises, see if they work for you. If they do, take them, run with them, play around with them, make them work however is best for you, or if they don't work, just simply forget about them and move on. So for each one of these exercises that I'm going to show you a standard way of doing it, as well as some type of variation that you can try if you just want to have a little bit more fun with it. All right, so for exercise number 1, we're going to do a classic movement here called the stability ball rollout. So you're going to need a stability ball, and then once you have one, you're going to just basically assume the same starting position that you would with the ab wheel rollout, but now you're going to rest your forearms on the ball, and then you're going to push your hips and shoulders forward at the same time, and when you've gone as far as you can, you simply bring yourself back to the starting position. Now, when you do this, just make sure that your hips or your low back don't really kind of drop or what we call sag through, because that can be a little bit uncomfortable and it doesn't challenge the core as effectively. Now, what's great about this exercise is you actually have a really good amount of variety that you can do in terms of how much you want to challenge yourself. If you want to make the movement more challenging, start with the ball a bit further away from your body, whereas if you need to make the movement easier, then keep the ball closer to your body as you do the movement. Now, when it comes to spicing it up a bit, you can do a variation called stirring the pot. This is basically something where you're going to pretend like you've got a big wooden spoon and you're essentially stirring a big cauldron like it's some type of witch's brew. So you're going to roll out, and then when you've rolled out as far as you can while maintaining a good position, you're going to stir the pot in one direction. So move your forearms in a circle in one direction. And then when you do this, the larger the circle, the more challenging it becomes for your core, whereas the smaller circles you make, the more easy it becomes. So you can do it where you get all your circles done one way for as many reps as you need, and then go do that same thing, but in the other direction. Or you can kind of alternate where you do a circle one way and a circle the other way. And you can also do it where you do a couple of circles and then roll back and then roll out again and repeat the process. Or you can simply just do a whole bunch of circles before you roll back to the starting position. However you do it is up to you. Feel free to play around with it. It's a fun variation that you can try. Now for exercise number 2, we're gonna do a rollout just like we would with the ab wheel, but this time we're gonna use a barbell instead of the ab wheel. Now the benefits of doing this is that it actually provides a wide base of support, so there's a little bit less side-to-side balance that you need when you do this movement. You're just going to need to have a barbell in order to do it. Now with the barbell, you can do it with just the barbell itself. Just make sure that you're not kind of scraping your knuckles on the ground. But you're going to need a barbell if you do it this way that's got good enough bearings that, again, there's not a lot of resistance when you're doing the rolling. So if you find that you have a barbell that doesn't roll all that good, simply take a couple of small metal plates, maybe some 2.5 pound plates or some 5 pound plates, and put one on the end of the barbell for each end. And then you're going to have something that's going to roll a bit more smoothly and your hands are going to not really get scraped up on the ground. So simply do this like you would a regular ab wheel rollout. And again, the further you go, the more challenging it becomes. Just make sure that you have good form and good technique. Your hips and your kind of lower back stay in a good position where they're not dropping through. You're not causing any aches and pains for your back that way, and you're effectively targeting and challenging your core. Now, if you want to put some variety into this movement, you can do a rollout where you essentially target your obliques a bit more by rolling into an arcing pattern. So to do this, you're going to roll out just like you would a standard rollout. But as you do this, you're going to actually push one arm out a little bit further than the other, and this is going to cause the barbell to arc off to the side. Now you go as far as you can, and then you just simply pull that arm back until you're into your starting position. And you can do all your repetitions where you go off to one side each and every time, and then go off to the other side for the remaining reps. Or you can do it where you alternate from side to side. Again, this is a great variation that you can do if you just want to spice it up a little bit and have a little bit more oblique involvement into the movement. So not going straight forward, but off to the side a bit, just so some other muscles around the midsection are targeted. And for the third variation here, this is a great one because it still challenges the core much like the standard ab wheel rollout would, but we don't need any equipment whatsoever in order to get this one done. So to do this, we're simply just gonna walk our hands out in front of us, walking into this kind of bridge position as far as we can. And then from there, we simply walk our hands back and we repeat. Now it's the same rules when we do this one as with all the other exercises or the ab wheel rollout itself, where we wanna go as far as we can without letting the hips or the lower back sag or drop through. And then from there, we're gonna hold that what we call bridge position for a split second, and then we're gonna walk ourselves back. Now, a good variation that you can try if you want to spice it up a little bit here is to simply walk yourself out as far as you can into what we call that bridge position, and then hold yourself in that position for a few seconds, and then walk back to the starting position. So holding that end range bridge position a bit longer produces what we call an isometric contraction for the muscles. This just means that the muscles are contracting without producing any movement. It's a great way to challenge yourself a bit more and get a little bit more out of the movement. So walk yourself out, hold for as long as you want, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever it's gonna be, and then walk yourself back, and then repeat for as many repetitions as you need. All right, now exercise number 4. This happens to be probably my personal favorite. I do this one more so than I even do with the ab wheel. I don't really know why, I just tend to like it a bit more. And so for this one, we're going to do slide outs. Now these slide outs, or arm slide outs as they're sometimes called, basically the same movement as with the ab wheel, but instead of using the ab wheel, you're going to use some sliders. Now, the great thing about these exercise sliders is that they are dirt cheap. They take up no space at all, and you can do a multitude of different exercises with them. You can use them for your core like we're doing here. You can use them for different arm exercises, different leg exercises. The sky's the limit with these things. You just got to get a little bit creative. So for the slide outs, basically start in the same position you would with the ab wheel rollout. You're going to slide your hands out at the same time as far as you can. And then when you've gone as far as you can while holding a good position, you're then going to slide back to the starting position and repeat. Now for the variations here, there are just some really cool ones you can do, but one of my favorite ones is to simply do a slide out, and then once you've kind of gone into a kind of plank position from your knees, you're then going to go into a push-up position while you still continue to slide one arm out. So you're essentially kind of hybridizing some type of push-up with a little bit of a big reach from the other arm, so you still will challenge the core to a certain extent. And then as you slide back, you come into that kind of kneeling plank position and then slide back to your starting position and then repeat. And so you can do all the repetitions on one side first before you switch to the other, or again, you can alternate. Totally up to you. Do it however you want to. So for the 5th exercise, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna keep using the sliders, and this time we're gonna put our forearms on the sliders instead of our hands. We're gonna slide out into a plank position from our knees, and then in that position there, you're just gonna push your arms out a bit further and then pull them back underneath you and repeat that movement. You're gonna notice that this is a sawing-like motion, and so we sometimes call this a plank saw. Now with these plank saws, don't be fooled. There's not a lot of movement to them, but they're a great one to do, and they will challenge your core quite nicely. Now for the variation here, it's basically the same movement, but you're just gonna have your hands on the sliders instead of your forearms. Now, this is just simply a different way of doing it. Play around with it, see what works best for you. I tend to go from the forearms. It just feels a little bit more natural, a little bit more desirable for me. It's a pretty good challenge, but you might find it a bit different. So try it with your hands on the sliders as well and see what works best for you. And for the bonus movement here, we're going to do the same type of movement that we do with the ab wheel rollout. We're gonna challenge the same muscles, but this time, instead of having the hands move out and the legs and feet stay in place, we are going to have the hands stay in place and the legs and feet move. So the movement that we're gonna do here is called a pike, and in order to do this, you're going to be in a plank position, have your forearms resting on the ground or your hands on the ground, whichever one's best for you, and then you're gonna have your feet on the sliders. From this position, you are then going to try and pull your feet up towards you. Your butt is gonna go up in the air, and keep your legs as straight as you can as you bring your feet as close to your face as possible. Once you've gone as far as you can, slide back out in that starting position and repeat for as many repetitions as you need. This is a great one to do if you really want to target more of the lower abdominals and the lower portion of the core. Again, the whole entire core is going to work, but this one kind of biases more of the lower abdominals. So there you go. There's some fun alternative exercises that you can try if you're not using the ab wheel, be it you don't have an ab wheel, or maybe the ab wheel is a bit too difficult or uncomfortable to use, or you just want to spice up your training and just make things a little bit more enjoyable in terms of variety. So these are merely the tip of the iceberg, along with their variations. There's a million different ways you can do this, so play around with them, hybridize them, see what works best for you. Again, these are ones that I just like to use for myself or for my clients, but nothing's right or wrong here. It's all about figuring out what ones are going to be best for you. Now, if you have other exercises or variations that you like, I want to hear about them. Put them in the comment section below so that I can try them for myself. I'll also quickly mention that I just put out a video on how to use the ab wheel and challenge yourself effectively if you are having back pain while using it. This is a great one for beginners or for just anyone who wants to still challenge their core effectively, but can't really use the ab wheel throughout a full range of motion for whatever reason. So in that video, you'll see that there's all sorts of variations that you can try that use a smaller range of motion, but still target your core quite effectively. Now, if you found any aspect of this video useful, helpful, or informative in any sort of way, please consider hitting that like button. That would mean a lot to me. Now, if there's anything else that you want me to cover, simply leave it in the comment section below, be strength training or injury prevention or injury rehabilitation, physical therapy, whatever the case may be. If there's something that you want to learn a bit more about, please put it in the comment section below and I'll see if I can make a video on it. So everyone, keep taking care of yourselves, keep looking after one another, keep making great things happen, and I will see you in the next video.